celebrate. They have done it.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with a match preview for Newcastle United's upcoming game this weekend down at Brighton and Hove Albion, 2 p.m. kickoff. This is a stinker of a ground for Newcastle United. I think Brighton have won 7 of all of their Premier League home games against Newcastle, so this is not a good one for us to go down to. But you've got to win these tough games if you want to finish in the Champions League positions this season, and that is what we're trying to do. We're going to get stuck right into this in a minute, talk about the lineups, talk about how we think the game is going to go, talk about Brighton and their way of playing and their dangerous players as well. Before we do, a little reminder, if you haven't already, smash subscribe, come help us get to the next milestone. We're over 10,200 subs now, so thank you very much for everyone who's got us there. Loads of room for you and evermore, all free content for the match previews, post-match analysis, the odd rant here and there, transfer rumours, you name it, we've got it. Why not smash that button? I will apologise up front if I sound a little bit hoarse. I'm trying my best to get through this preview, so I will do my best to bring you the usual kind of Chris Evermore banter on the match preview without a runny nose. So let's get stuck in then. So Brighton are a really good side. There's no doubt about that at all. They play some absolutely brilliant football. They really, really do. I like what that manager does. You know, he's the youngest manager in the Premier League, but he plays some excellent football. He really, really does. You know, and they are a dangerous side. There is no doubt about it at all. You know, he picked up from where De Zerbi left off. You know, he did a really good job. And I think this is going to be a difficult game, absolutely a difficult game for Newcastle, certainly with a huge a hole as well in the shape of Joe Linton going into this game, who I think Joe Linton's going to be done for the entire season now as well. So we really need to see how we're going to fare in this game. So looking at where Brighton are sitting, Brighton are 9th in the table on 51 points. And obviously we are sitting in 3rd on 62 points. But this fixture does not favour Newcastle United at all. So let's get stuck in with the lineup. And then obviously we'll talk about Brighton, talk about their threats as well. And just basically see, you know, where we are going to win this game against Fabian Hurst's team. So this is how I think Newcastle United are going to line up in this game. This is how I think we'll line up. I don't think Eddie Howe will do this, and I'll explain the change that I think Eddie Howe will make. So the back five kind of picks itself. Nick Pope in goal, Kieran Trippier on the right of the defence, Fabian Schär, Dan Burn against his former team, and Tino Livramento continuing his great spell at left back. In the midfield three, this is where the big change is. So the Joe Linton hole is there. He's missing, he's got a knee injury. I would like to see Lewis Miley come into the team. I think in terms of getting the best of Brighton, you know, the way Brighton play, you know, they have those two holding midfielders who they pick up the pass, and then what they do is they find space so that they push up as a team. They kind of go to almost a back two, a back three with the full backs pushing up with the wingers, and then they pass it in between the goalkeeper and the two centre halves. And what they do is they suck in the other team in terms of presses high, presses fast. And then when that player presses, they play it into the middle where the holding midfielders have the chance to turn and spin and find those passes out wide. That's Brighton's biggest threat, really. So I would like to see Lewis Miley alongside Tonali and Bruno really getting amongst it and getting to the faces of their midfielders. Joe Willock's game's more about pace and energy and getting us up to the end of the park. And I'm not really sure that Joe Willock we've seen of late is going to be the best choice for this game. But I think Eddie Howe will go with Joe Willock because he sees Joe Willock as Joe Linton's replacement and he sees Miley as Tonali or Bruno's replacement. So I think we'll probably see Joe Willock, but I would rather see Lewis Miley in that midfield three. And that's why I put him in there. And the front three, I don't think Gordon's fit enough to start games. I mean, there could be a change here. He could change formation and he could do almost a 4-2-3-1 and have a double pivot midfielder, Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali, and then have Murphy, Gordon and Harvey Barnes across with Alexander Isak as the main man up front himself. Maybe have Barnes in the 10 or Gordon in the 10 and either one of them out on the left-hand side. He could do that, Eddie Howe, but I don't think Eddie Howe will do that. I think he'll stick with his 4-3-3 and he'll probably bring in Willock. But I would rather see Lewis Miley in that particular equation. But again, this is a really difficult game for Newcastle. There is no doubt about it. I think Newcastle United can get the Champions League by winning their 2 home games. I think this is a very, very difficult game. We've got 4 games left. We've got Brighton away and Arsenal away, and they are not easy games at all. As I said, we haven't won in 7 games in the Premier League at Brighton, and I'm not sure we're going to break this hoodoo this weekend, to be honest with you. Not sounding negative, guys. I just think that's how good of a side that Brighton are. But looking at some of the injury news going into this, and then we'll have a look at how they shaped up, you know, in their last game. So their last game against West Ham, Now, Brighton are a really good side, but the thing about pressing high is you leave gaps at the back, and they definitely left gaps at the back against West Ham. And where West Ham got their joy for their 2 goals was Jared Bowen taking it to the byline, cutting it across the middle of the park, and just cutting out the defence effectively. And that's what they did to get a goal. Then they whipped in another cross, and it was Souček came in and scored a header. So I think if you're going to get in amongst their midfield and press into them, they've got an excellent midfield. There is no doubt about that at all. They had Hinsselwood and Ayara playing against West Ham, and you've got to close them down as well from distance, because that's how they got their goals. Belieber scored an absolute corker and make it 3-2, and Ayari scored a screamer as well. They just flicked off Paqueta's foot, but he was too slow to come out and press him. So you have to come out and press this midfield as well. O'Reilly's a very talented player on the ball. He was playing Welbeck leading the line. This is the way Brighton play. That they generally do try and suck the other teams into pressure them, or they can go long and ask Welbeck to hold it up and then pass it along to one of the wingers that are flying in as well. So how they lined up in the last game, they had Verbruggen in goal, they had Wiefer, Lewis Dunk, Belieber, Estepan out wide. Then I had Hinsselwood and Ayara in midfield. I had Adingra, Matt O'Reilly, and Danny Welbeck leading the line. So that's how they lined up. So how Sports Mole is saying that they're going to line up. There obviously our big injury concern is obviously Joe Linton, and obviously that's Sven Botman as well, who can't play, but he will be on the bench. In terms of he's not starting games, but he will be there obviously to be on the bench. But yeah, I think Willock will come in. I think that's what Sportsmole have probably gone for as well. But I'm not sure if there's any injury news going into the Brighton game. I didn't see any, severe injuries in terms of the last game, looking at who came on. Brajan Gruda got man of the match in terms of this game. He had a really good game when he come off. He come on for O'Reilly, and I think he really got that kind of star rating on SofaScore, because he had a 75% passing accuracy when he came on, 2 key passes and 2 assists. So that's how he kind of stole the show there, really, in terms of that. And he is a good player, Gruda. There's no doubt about that. And they got some talented players on the bench. They've got Yankuba Minter that we all know all about. Matoma was rested as well for West Ham. He's probably most likely to come in. I think they'll probably line up, in my opinion. I think what they'll probably do is they'll change those 2 wingers. We won't see Solly March and the thing with it. I think we'll see Minter and Matoma come in, and they're very, very dangerous players. O'Reilly might still play in that 3rd position behind Danny Welbeck potentially, or they might even try to look to bring maybe Pedro back in, depending on his fitness levels as well. But I think they are a very dangerous side. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. And I think it's a team that we have to be very, very wary of going into this game. It's not going to be an easy game whatsoever. It's not going to be an easy game at all. And I think Newcastle are going to get a draw at this game at the very best. I think we're going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think it would be great if we can get a win. I think that would help solidify our position in the Champions League even more so. But with Forest dropping points of the day against Brentford, that was a great result for us as well. And even a draw will probably put us in a strong position. We've got Chelsea next weekend, and that's a key game in the race for this Champions League position, because if we can take points off Chelsea, that almost slaps another Champions League contender out of the way, and it gives us a really good chance to solidify a good position going into those last 2 games. We've got Arsenal away, then we've got Everton at home as well. If we win our home games, I'm still pretty confident that we're going to get those Champions League positions. But yeah, apologies for the lack of team news on the Brighton thing. I'm recording this on Friday night, so maybe it hasn't come out quick enough there. But I think Brighton are an excellent side. There's no doubt about it. They probably will shuffle the pack and bring some more players in. Pace, energy. They love to press high. They love to have little triangular passes around you, make you run around, keep you dizzy. I think the best thing to do with Brighton is not press them too hard. Don't press the goalkeeper. Make them kind of come out and play in that midfield. But I think if we over run the midfield, we swamp the midfield, if Tonali and Guimaraes can get in amongst it, get in the faces, win the ball back. We know Lewis Miley, if he's playing, has that ability to find a pass and break through the press. That's why I would play him ahead of Willock, but I think Eddie would probably go for Joe Willock. But let us know in the comments below what you guys think about our lineup, what you think the lineup is actually going to be. What do you think about Brighton and the game itself? Are you worried about the fixture? Do you think we're going to win? Do you think we're going to lose? Or do you think we're going to draw like me? Let us know in the comments below. We always like to hear from you. Again, apologies, I'm struggling through this. Man flu has bit me big time towards the end of the week, but hopefully I'll be in a much better shape for the live post-match analysis. Come back and check us out after that one on Sunday as well, after full time. Hopefully Newcastle United have got a good result in this massive game against Brighton, which is not a happy hunting ground for us. But have a belt, everybody. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy the sunshine, and we'll see you later. Cheers.
Dan Burn! Hanging in the air. Murphy is Newcastle United win at Wembley. Eddie Howe's heroes celebrate. They have done it.